Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sierra Hignite. Today, Dre'Jon Reed's family's legal team publicly disputed a grand jury's decision not to indict the officer who shot and killed Reed back in May. They're now moving forward with a wrongful death lawsuit against the city of Indianapolis. News 8's Julia Dang has been following this case closely. She has the latest.
We heard the deadly police shooting streamed live on Facebook, but we couldn't see Dre'Jon Reed's last moments alive. For months, the 21-year-old's family has disputed IMPD's account of what happened after Reed led officers on a chase in May. Police say Reed and IMPD officer DeJour Mercer exchanged gunfire after Mercer used a taser on Reed.
And my little brother became a statistic.
Reed's family claims he never shot at Mercer. On Tuesday, a special prosecutor announced a grand jury did not find enough evidence to bring criminal charges against the officer.
The most challenging part was trying not to let my emotions become involved.
State police revealing immediately after the emotional announcement, their investigation found Reed fired twice.
Those were ballistically checked.
Based on ballistics and audio evidence.
So each one of these is a shot fired?
But now, attorneys for Reed's family are disputing the grand jury's findings and its decision not to indict.
I'm mostly disappointed in the fact that we are not surprised.
Attorney Fatima Johnson questioned how an officer could fire 13 shots, killing a man, and face no charges, and what that says about IMPD training and culture, and what we call the justice system.
Dre'Jon will not be afforded the privilege of finding justice inside of a criminal courtroom.
Her calls for systemic change and increased police accountability echoed by protesters, including Reed's sister.
There's no justice. My brother can't rest.
But laying out why they don't agree with the grand jury's findings, fellow Reed attorney Soare Conte made unfounded claims about IMPD's narrative.
Right from the beginning of this case, the IMPD was adamant that Mercer ran all those bullets on Dre'Jon because he shot at him first.
IMPD officials never stated Reed shot at Mercer first. State police say their investigation couldn't determine who shot first. And Reed didn't have to shoot first for the officer's use of deadly force to be legally justified. But that's not stopping Reed's family from hoping that civil law will be on their side.
Because DeJour Mercer must be held accountable for the life he took. The city must answer for their role in hiring people like him.
In Indianapolis, Julia Dang, Wish TV and WishTV.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook.
Protesters were seen marching this afternoon following that announcement made by Reed's family's legal team. They've been calling for justice since Reed was killed back in May. News 8's Aaliyah Hodges spoke with protesters today. Aaliyah, what did they have to say?
Yeah, dozens of people, including Indy 10 Black Lives Matter, they gathered at the Northwest Precinct. The group says is where Officer Mercer worked and are calling for some kind of punishment for him, despite the grand jury deciding not to file any criminal charges.
Calls for justice now rings even louder. Indy 10 Black Lives Matter says it's been an emotional week since hearing the grand jury's decision and state police unpacking evidence on the night 21-year-old Dre'Jon Reed was killed. Despite what investigators have said about Reed's criminal background, protesters want people to remember the bottom line.
He was a brother, he was a veteran, he was a friend, a boyfriend, a big brother. You know, he was a human being who deserved to see justice and not deserve to be gunned down on the street.
There were armed individuals to protect protesters during the march. No weapons were drawn. Protesters met outside of Lafayette Square Mall, marched to IMPD's Northwest Precinct and back through the cold and rain. They're hoping for a federal investigation over Reed's death, but one demand remains the same: defund the Indianapolis Police Department.
If you think about it, if you just go to any black neighborhood in Indianapolis, you can see that those neighborhoods have been defunded. And so what we want is to take the money away from the police departments and to refund black communities.
Next year, hopefully, the city decides to side with the side of community and put the funds into the hands of community members and organizers instead of funding white supremacist police force.
Some protesters tell me they're not surprised about the grand jury's decision and call it a hurdle they're jumping over.
The way that we move things forward, the way that we get things done is by making our voices heard and getting people to come together around these issues, because power concedes nothing without a demand. They won't just hand you the keys. we have to go and demand that they be given to us.
Indy 10 Black Lives Matter is also raising money to help with legal fees for the Reed family. Reporting, I'm Aaliyah Hodges for Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.